Hi guys, it was nice for my brother's birthday. It's not so nice today. Yeah, see that there. Yeah, so a bit of a grim day. Hopefully be nicer for Mother's Day. All I want to talk about is just the Ulster game. I was going to review that. Ulster against the Stormers, another great win. So you think to yourself, before the Six Nations, a really bad loss, like, losing to Zebra at home. I think Ulster, to be fair to them, have bounced back the best way they could. So, like, they've got 3 bonus point wins on the trot now, which is really good. Beat the Dragons, they beat Scarlets. Very tight games as well. So that's even better. They got 6 tries against the Stormers, which is no easy feat, I think the variety of the tries as well is what's very impressive. So you had Robert Balakoon getting one, which is good. Stockdale had a very good game, Michael Lowry. So the back 3 for Ulster I felt were very good. Made a lot of difference. Stormers have gone down, haven't they, in quality? But in fairness, have a red card and a yellow card, and still they only lost by 4. Got a bonus point try of their own. And just on that card, actually, I feel like might have looked harsh. I know where people are coming from there. For Neatling, Fouché. Don't know how you play in the front row with hair that long. Just gonna say it. I always had to have short hair playing rugby, or in general, to be fair. But I'm a sweaty bastard. But yeah. So people might be thinking Carson is very low. And kind of runs into him with his head, and I actually felt, I'll be honest with you, when I first saw it I thought it's play on, it's a rugby incident. But looking back on it, I can understand Andrea Piardi's decision, because, and I know people would say he looked strict, but he was right in fairness, and he was consistent. Gave a yellow card against Harry Sheridan for slapping a hand, and it was cynical in fairness. So right call, in my opinion. That left it even, towards the end. So it was 14 and 14. So that's like in the 71st minute, so he was off for 10. So he was gone for the rest of the game, essentially. Sasha Feinberg and Gomazulu got a yellow earlier on for a blatant trip on Balakoon. But the Fouché incident, you've got to look at the arm. It's tucked, you know what I mean? It's never legal. So if you listen to the call, you'll hear the referee saying, Andrea Piardi saying, he's always illegal, so there's no mitigation that can be applied. I just feel like it's important. Come on out, good boy. Good lad. Your friends, are they here? They're probably inside, it's not nice out. I know. Good man. So you'll hear people saying he's always illegal. So just even see here, the arm is tucked in. He leads with the elbow to the head. Don't really know what Carson was doing the way he was carrying, but he puts the head down, like he tucks it in. So kind of, I know you're told to put the head down when you carry, but he's kind of fucking himself over, But the fact that Fouché's arm, as you say, was tucked in that position meant that he was never in a legal position to make a tackle. So if his arm was out like that, where he could wrap, I have a feeling it literally would have gone from red card to rugby incident. Because to be fair to Fouché, I don't see how he could have gotten any lower. Just to say that. If anybody has any thoughts, it'd be interesting to hear them. But that's why, because his action is illegal. You saw with Roman Ntamack, the arm is tucked. It's never legal, you know what I mean? It's always illegal. So it's going to be a red card. You can't apply any mitigation, essentially. But yeah, Ulster were very impressive. Like Andrew Warwick getting a try, Balakoon getting one. Stockdale, delighted for him. He's gotten so much abuse, and it's not fair on him, I've always been a big fan of him, and you can see I've always defended him. So I don't feel it's fair the way he was treated. such a good player, and to be treated that way is disgraceful. Michael Lowry, also outstanding. I feel like the back line really clicked well for Ulster, and the forwards did the hard graft. Because I mean, if you think about it as well, Stormers came flying out of the blocks. It was something like 14 points in the first. Sorry, no, they were 17 points ahead within the first 5 minutes. So Ulster really, I thought that game, you know, it looks daunting, looks like it's going to be a tough afternoon for Ulster. But no, watched it on TG Car, Trinona. But yeah, they came back into it. It's good to see Jack Murphy get a try as well. You know, I feel like the backline really, they came up trumps for, not that trump, but they came up really good for the Ulster team. The forwards did all they had to do, because it was daunting for them. You know, the scrum was being absolutely destroyed, and I thought, okay, it's going to be a whitewash here, ironically, against the Ulster team, who are of course in white. You could just hear renditions of Stand Up for the Ulster, man. Love hearing that. Stand Up. Big Stu as well, Stuart McCluskey, getting his 200 cap. Big shout out to him. A player who I've often felt is very underappreciated in Ireland. And while I love Bundy Aki, I feel like those two players are similar, and Stuart McCluskey's just been kind of ignored and, you know, dumped on the sideline and left out, because we often assume Southern Hemisphere players are better than our own, don't we? But look, that's neither here nor there. It's a very good win for Ulster, and impressive as well, you know, against the physical Stormers team, who came firing out of the blocks. Some very sloppy mistakes early on by Ulster, but they cut them out towards the end, which is good to see, because I was a bit nervous for them. Davy McCann again having another really good game, Matty Ray, and then Nick Timoney doing what Nick Timoney does. They broke very well in attack, like for that Balakoon trip, you know, and he was tripped up by Sasha Feinberg and Gomazulu. Like, just saying the full name is such a cool name. Don't know what he was giving out about afterwards, because he clearly tripped him. He looked at him and then went over to trip him. And he was giving out the Balakoon. And obviously, like, in fairness to Robert Balakoon, he was like, fuck off, you tripped me. You know, you shoved me to the ground, and now you're starting on me. And of course, Evan Rose getting involved. Doesn't take much for him to start shoving the scrum half, does it? He starts on John Cooney, of all people, of course. And then Balakoon, a winger. Anyway, Ulster at the last laugh, and number 23 for Ulster, very good. And now you have Stuart Moore, who's a very good player at 22, but number 23, whoever he is, he's a class player. When he came on, he broke the line every time. Very good, very impressed with him. Didn't get his name, but I will look that up. It's not Jude Postlethwaite. But I'll find out. Whoever it was, he was very good. Was it another Hume? I thought I heard the name Hume, but it wasn't James Hume. James Hume. But I will find out. Either way, very good game, number 23. Hopefully Carson's okay. Will Carson, is it? I don't know his first name, but I've been watching more of mostly Leinster and Munster this season. A few Ulster games as well in Connacht. The provinces I've watched the most to be Leinster and Munster, so I'd like to see them all do well, and it's good to see Ulster on the up, because they were having a tough time of it. Scott Wilson, as I say, is a player I've been very impressed with. I feel like he's very good in the loose play, just needs to shore up the scrum, you know. That's something where you'd be like, come on, you've got everything else. He got a brilliant try against the Dragons last week, where he jackled the ball, got in a great position, made the tackle, got the jackal, and scored the try. Great mobility for a tight head prop. And against Munster, he made a barnstorming carry, and he has one hell of a mullet as well. Shout out to Brock Harris, the replacement loose head for the Stormers, 40 years old. He's got the old school prop build, you know, like the skinnier arms and the big torso and all. That's probably why he's lasted so long, because he just plays the game, you know, rather than all these gym bunnies. As you look at someone like Nick Oterak or Max Leaf, you think they're huge and they're ripped, but they rarely play, you know. And Cian Healy as well. I know he got his caps, but jeez, he got injured a lot. You know, the big gym bunnies. Whereas what you want is your Brock Harris. It's great to see that, 40 years old, still going strong. Fair play to him. And he can play either side, you know, because like, I remember watching the 2007 World Cup, because Fozzie, who I coached with, he played in the 2007 World Cup, and I was asking him, I said, did props have to actually play both sides? And he was like, yeah, so when you came onto the pitch, you were only allowed one prop replacement, like one, you could have a hooker. You had a hooker, you had a prop, then you had a second row flanker, have a scrum half, a fly half, and you were allowed a utility backseat 7, you know what I mean, rather than a full replacement front row. But obviously for safety reasons that had to improve, but you'd have to play both sides, which is why older players like James Slipper, he could play either side of the scrum, because you had to back in the day. Usually I remember being on his head, but he could slide the tight head. That was okay, you know. I can remember Pony found the city, massive big, was an old lad for Australia, but very good in the loose. But when James Slipper came on to play tight head, he sorted the scrum out much better, you know. It just shows you the importance of having people like Brock Harris, you know, the lads with the brains, fellas who know how to shore up the set piece. Remember Dan Cole before, because you know the way he came out of retirement, literally 2 World Cups in a row, so 8 years, and everybody's like, you're still going. Everybody was talking about him and Joe Marler coming out of retirement for the Lions tour. But in fairness, like, it's some achievement what they did. But Dan Cole was asked, how do you survive for so long? And he goes, it's very simple really. I just try to stay as far away from the ball as possible. That wouldn't be my style now. I'd be the opposite. I want the ball in my hands. It used to piss me off when I wouldn't get the ball. I'd be screaming and roaring at lads, give me the fucking ball. But he's right, because I've gotten lots of injuries from doing exactly that. And it's just an interesting point, because when you have someone like Dan Cole, they will shore up the scrum, they'll lift in the line out. I think looking at someone like Carl Heyman, you know, Carl Heyman's someone who my brother used to talk about a lot, and bigger lad, 6'4", used to play number 8, so I was kind of expecting this big ball carrier, and he kind of was when he was younger, but as he got older, having him in the team was important, because he would just hit ruck after ruck, you know. And that's one thing I noticed. It was like, he hasn't gotten the ball, well, he got it once, but what's more impressive is how many rucks he's hitting and smashing, you know. Like when he played for Toulon, the likes of Backy's Bota, Craig Burden, Andrew Sheridan, Ali Williams, you know, these really big names, Donny Rousseau, big bar man. I think Rousseau's actually French, the name, it's Huguenot, but you know, just those beefcakes in the South African front row and second row as well. I know Rousseau could play back row, number 8 a lot of the time. Got decked by Brian O'Driscoll though, so he's a beast of a man. So him getting decked by anyone, never mind the centre, but it was O'Driscoll, so it's fair. But just to go to the point of, it might not be the glamorous stuff, but Carl Heyman hitting those rucks is very important. And Alf, come on, we got to pick a side. Insane. You gonna cross over again? And you make sure there's no cars, alright? Come on, stay. Yeah, like, it's just a point that I'd like to make about the importance of the front row. And I think it's something that Ireland really need to look into, because we haven't got enough standout front rowers, you know, like coming through. And I think that's something where South Africa have been very good at getting a pipeline of them. I don't actually think there's anyone you could say has done it as well as they have. Come on, stay in it. You couldn't, to be fair, could you? Because they just have so many coming through. England don't. But I've been impressed with Will Stewart and Joe Hayes. Genge hasn't been bad either, you know, and then Finn Baxter. He doesn't look like much, but he delivers. Try against France, so. France, I wouldn't even say have done a great job of it, because Wayne Antonio, he's not at his best now, and you know, he's retired. You have, I actually don't know why France didn't use Rabah Slimani in the Six Nations. I think he's been great for Leinster, you know. One thing you have to give Leinster credit for is how they buy players. Like, you've got Charlie Nato, he was brilliant. You have obviously Snyman. Munster fans would be livid, I know. There was big kerfuffle over that now with Snyman, because I think Jake White wanted him to come back to South Africa and maybe play for the Bulls. To be fair, his Bulls team beat the Leinster team, so. But again, set piece. That's what won them the game, so that's why I'm talking about it. I know I started off with the Ulster game, but it is a fundamental of the game, you know what I mean? And while I've never really played in the front row, I think a lot of players in the front row can be boring. I do appreciate that it's needed, you know? And because my fitness wasn't necessarily, or hasn't been the best, and that game, the weekend, reminded me of that, I was thinking, if I go back and play front row, that would be more than enough, what I did. That's something I definitely consider, you know? There's a lot of people say, like, I'm a bit short for a second rower. I'm 6'4". I think that's kind of, you know, that's fair enough, I would say, you know? I think that's a good height. Obviously, you know, in South Africa they produce 6'8", 6'9" giants all the time. But people underestimate the drive in the second row, you know, and front row is obviously the hardest, because you're getting all the pressure of both teams coming on your shoulders. That sounded, I need to, never mind, not coming on your shoulders. The pressure's coming through, you know. You've got 8 big men smashing into each other, and again, I know. You want to see the birthday card I gave my brother Alexi for his birthday? It was to show how homo-friendly I am, and he really appreciated it. It was interesting, to say the least. Spreading slurry and all at the minute. But yeah, it's just a fundamental position that you really need to be aware of. Like, I was thinking about it, you know, as I say, I got thrown in the front row twice, and boy, that's an experience. My shoulders were killing me, you know, so I do get it. It's a tough position, and I appreciate the likes of, especially coaching now, what you got to have is a good front rower. And I know, like, look, we're only doing young children, you know what I mean? It's we do 13 up to 18-year-old in rugby, but getting them the fundamental skills, that's important. And also, I think, because Fozzie that I coach with unfortunately came from a generation where it was just bang, reset the scrum, crash into each other, you know. It was really really quick reset, and it was like a car crash, really. It was. His neck is in bits, you know. He got a lot of injuries. His knees have been killing him. So injury prevention is key as well, I think, which is why you have really slow resets now, which, look, I know they piss people off, but they're also important, because the injuries that you get from them are horrendous, you know. People have literally been paralysed from scrums. If anybody ever watched the School of Hard Knocks, I used to love watching that with Will Greenwood and Scott Quinnell. Those two were a really good combination. School of Hard Knocks was brilliant. Love that show. Anybody know if they're making a new season? Come on. Good lad. Good boy. If they're making a new season, that count me in. By now I'm getting a bit off topic, like I was talking about the Ulster game, but the reason I'm talking about it is because it's an area for Ireland in general where I feel has been weak. Like, you saw Leinster get demolished in the set piece, and they would have won the game if it weren't for a terrible set piece. They should have won that game. And I feel like Ulster were very good, but that's an area of concern for me. And I think the fact that Neatling Fouché went off really helped Ulster, because that's an area where the Stormers were on top for a lot of that game. Scrum penalties still kept coming, even with a replacement front row, the wonderful Brock Harris and Sandy. Sassy Sandy, that's his name. What a name. Sassy Sandy. Sounds like the gay guy in work, doesn't it? Sassy Sandy. But they both did well. I only imagine if Franz Malherbe was fit, that Ulster scrum wouldn't have been as lucky. But yeah, it's an area that really concerns me. You saw actually Edinburgh demolish Munster in the scrum week previously. 2 weeks ago, sorry. Another South African, Bowen Venter. They pronounce the V like an F, same as in Dutch. Well, my family are Dutch, and then they pronounce it like an F too. On Elf, go on, up. Good lad. You know, and John Ryan is no slouch, and he got demolished in the scrum. And go back, you want to keep going. Go on. So it's like a fundamental position that I feel in Ireland we've really neglected, and it's starting to really show. You win scrum penalties, get field position. And you get field position and you've got a good scrum and a good maul. You're sorted, you know, and the Bulls showed that. Like, the Bulls against Leinster did not play very well. And it's going to be a great game today. I can't wait to see the Sharks against Leinster. That's going to be a cracker over in Durban. Sharks are starting to come good. They're saying they're not coached very well, because they definitely have the players. You know, they have the most Springbok caps of any other South African side. You've got Bongi and Banambi. You've got Eben Etzebeth, of course. I imagine he'll be playing today, because you're going to need all your big names. Well, maybe not. You know, the Bulls didn't have many big names, so perhaps not. But they didn't need the big names to beat them. But yeah, you have Andre Esterhuizen back at the Sharks. Sia Kolisi. Grant Williams. Macazzoli might be in his band now for a deliberate eye gouge, and to be fair, can't argue with that. He went for the eyes. No disputing that. Jaden Hendricks. We've got Jordan Hendricks in there now as well. Good boy. Oh, look at the fields are all getting crop rotation. Turning up the soil. I learned all about it. Yeah, you learned as well. Oh. Got to churn up the old soil and you know, get the soil rotating, get the crops growing. Then they plant everything down. Oh. You can't go in there. Not used to being told no. You can't go in, sorry, out. Tractors be going in, you get crushed. Don't you ending up in the soil. But yeah, just thinking, like, who else? Lucanio Am, of course, at the Sharks. Now Afalele Basse. Some of these mad names that I'm trying to pronounce. But yeah, it's something that Leinster will have to be wary of. There's enough talent on that pitch to really hurt them today, and they should look to bounce back. Like, 2 losses from 2 games against the South Africans, not going to be very good, you know, and it won't be well received, I wouldn't imagine. So they want to turn it around. And they say the Sharks are peaking now, you know, they're coming out at the right time. So it's going to be a tricky one. I'll do a review on that as well, so I imagine there'll be a lot of talking points. What are you doing? Come on. Yeah, the car's coming. You cross over. Alright, on it. Good boy. Yeah, it will be exciting. Connacht against Munster, so an Irish derby. Feels like that fixture gets played more than any other one. Ever noticed that? I feel like that fixture gets played more than any other one. They've already played. That was the first game of the season. Just keeping an eye out for him. He wants to do his own thing. We're gonna discipline you, ain't we? Make sure that you stay alive first and foremost. Yeah, so you're not really gonna learn much from an interprovincial derby, to be honest, you know. I guess the only thing you'd learn is how far ahead of everyone Leinster are in terms of the Irish provinces. Look at that. Oh, nice. Good boy. Oh, look at the colours. Countryside, I absolutely love it. Why would you trade this for a big city? Just tell me. I don't get it. Whenever anyone says, would you go back to Dublin, and people say they'd move in a heartbeat, I'm like, absolutely not. No chance. Love it here. Beautiful countryside. You can't beat it. Sure, it's not as convenient in some ways, but in other ways it's very convenient. But yeah, I think a fundamental flaw has been exposed, you know, and we also need to start looking at who is going to be the fly halves for Ireland. Because that's something now we need to be concerned about. Fundamental positions we are missing out on. And I would argue if Hugo Keenan is injured, Jamie Osborne hasn't been exceptional at fullback. He's a very good player, but he's not a fullback, he's a centre. Yet Ireland are playing him every position other than centre. Jimmy O'Brien, who was doing very well, not doing very well now. I like Michael Lowry, I have to say. I think he's very good. I think give him a chance, you know. Finn Tracy, I know he's a winger, but he's a very good player. I'm very impressed with him. Calvin Nash is a winger as well. Shane Daly, you know, another one. Shane Daly can play anywhere in the back three, and centre. The utility back if ever he saw one. Come on, Alf. Good boy. Stockdale. Woohoo. Get him back in. Yeah, it's I feel like the fundamental. Oh shit, come on, go. Go. Takes too long. People go around like mad around here, so just want to get him across as soon as possible. Because if you walk across slowly, someone will fly out in the middle of the road and take you out, you know. He's blissfully unaware. Alf, keep that head in. Good boy. Don't worry, I'm aware. Good lad. It's going a bit further today, in fairness. It's good to see. Very nice. It was very hot yesterday, to be fair. But no, good to see him go further. But yeah, this kind of just... I feel like Ulster would have won by more had they had a better set piece and fundamentals, really, you know. If you think now about the Ireland team, if Hugo Keenan gets injured, the calibre of player we're bringing in afterwards isn't great. You know, we're bringing in lads as well who aren't used to playing the position, so it's not their fault, but they're not being played in their ideal position. Osborne, I think, is better at centre, and I feel like we desperately need a few new centres because our centres are very slow at the minute. But look, I don't know what their thinking is. Oh, look at that, I just want to show you. One sec. Look at the field. Oh, just wait. Look at that. The tractor going along. Oh, wasn't that nice? Look at that. Oh, look at that. That big happy head. Good boy. Just had to show you that. That makes me happy. I don't know if it makes you happy, but I love seeing that. Beautiful Irish countryside. It's all appreciated. But yeah, I would like to see Michael Lowry and Shane Daly get a bit more time at fullback for Ireland. I feel like they could. I feel like there's enough wingers already, you know, so I feel like that's an area where we could look to improve. Alright, tractor coming in now. Back a little. Yeah, oh, my face really close there. Yeah, so fullback's something I want to get sorted. Fly half, desperately, yeah, we need to get that sorted, you know. We're good in the back row, got a lot of good back rowers. Like, if you look at our tight five as well, like, if you think about it, when you've got Andrew Porter, Dan Sheehan, Tyg Furlong, Joe McCarthy, Tyg Byrne, Fit, I think that's unbelievable. But the problem is the depth after that. You know, so that tight five is world class. Nobody's denying that. Thomas Clarkson's had a few iffy moments. You know, I was singing his praises after the game against England, and when he came off the bench against Scotland, thought he was fine. You know, did a good job. But then he started against Wales and had a bit of a howler, didn't he? So consistency against the Bulls, he gave away a scrum penalty and then was sent off for collapsing a ball. Kind of like, I don't know. Is he still a bit inexperienced, or? And then we're relying on Cian Healy and Jack Boyle, not really getting an awful lot of game time. Now he's gone, and Cian Healy and Jack Boyle been thrown in the deep end. Don't know. I'll have to see. So it's kind of worrying for me, you know. And then at hooker, you're like, I'm thinking to yourself, Dan Sheehan's been injury riddled, so has Ronan Kelleher. So if they can both stay fit, you've got two world class hookers. Then you've got Gus McCarthy coming through, Niall Scannell and Rob Herring as well, but Rob Herring's getting on. So it's kind of difficult now. We don't have enough of the depth because we're not creating it. Jeremy Lockman played well when he came back. Come on, Alf. Where you going? Come back? Yeah. Come on. So yeah, it's an area of concern for me, is the front row in particular. You know, it's just something where I've got an itch in my cheek. But I'd want more props getting game time. Looks like Jack Crowley's going to leave as well. Geez, how did I forget about that? It looks like he's heading on to Leicester. I think that's confirmed now. Come on, good boy. Come on, good lad. Come on. Good boy. So do we relax eligibility laws in Ireland, because if you don't play in Ireland, you can't play for Ireland. So I know England have that rule, but they've got more teams, so they kind of have the luxury of doing that a bit more, I would say. You know, with Jack Willis going to Toulouse, he can't play for England now. I feel like with Ireland we should relax it a bit more, because we keep using the small population thing to suit us when we want it. We've lots of players who can never play for Ireland because they don't play in Ireland. And like Tyg Byrne would never been able to play for Ireland, you know, had he stayed in Wales. So is it worth relaxing that law? I definitely think so. But yeah, just an interesting few thoughts on Irish rugby, and good win for Ulster. Yeah, good boy. Alright, guys. Hopefully Leinster can get wins, and we'll see how the other Irish provinces go. Two of them playing each other. Last time Connacht played Munster, there was only 2 points in it, 35-33. It was a cracking game. Will it be that close today? I hope so. Alright, see you in the next one.